What about hard work? Does it matter?
Well, since you ask it so simply, I'd say no. Or it certainly is not the most important thing. In fact, I think hard work leading to success is a myth that, and let me give you two examples, okay? The first is to qualify what I mean. I work with a lot of, as we spoke earlier before we actually began the session, about how younger people are different places in their life than older people, especially with career and how they think about it. And earlier in my life, I used to do triathlons, the races that combine swimming and then biking and then running. And back when I used to do them, they don't do it quite the same way anymore. It would be a mass water start. You have 400 or 500 people who the gun sounds and all 500 of them plow into the water simultaneously. Not a phased start. And as you can imagine, it is a shit show. You mean you're getting kicked and your goggles are being knocked off and you're being held underwater. And you quickly realize that if you want to be able to survive in this mass start, you're going to sprint for those first 400, 500, 600 yards to get yourself far enough in the front of the pack that you have open water. And in my opinion, work life is kind of like that. When you're younger, when you don't really know what you're doing, when you have to go down a lot of false ends because you're not sure they're productive, you better work your ass off. You better sprint. You better work 3 times harder than everybody else in the company. So it's essential. But ideally, you get yourself far enough ahead that you recognize, I can't go at this pace for the entirety of the triathlon. I needed to get myself some breathing room, but now I can back off. So yeah, at certain points in your career, you need hard work. At certain points in the trajectory of your business, you need hard work. Your fundraising, you can't say, oh, we're closing the round, I'm taking vacation for 2 weeks. We're doing M&A. I'm only going to work a couple hours. No, you're going to have to grind it. But that's not the answer. All right, one more little story, which is part 2 to this, which is why I say that it's a myth for hard work. During one part of my career, I lived in Europe. I was doing international marketing for a big software company. We had an office in Paris, and I lived in Paris. But I was meeting every week with the marketing people in our other branches. So probably 4 days out of 5, I was flying. Fly to Copenhagen one day, then I'd fly down to Milan, then I might fly to London, then I might fly to Madrid in 1 week. So I spent a lot of time at the airport. And because I'm sometimes not that organized, I'd be late. And you would find me just sprinting down the concourse in my blazer and my wool coat, trying to desperately make the plane. And what I found out was that probably 49% of the time, I'd pull up to the gate and the plane was delayed, and I'd have to wander onto the plane, no problem at all. I could have made it on crutches. And instead, I'd sit there marinating in my sweat for another hour before the plane took off. Or the other 49% of the time, I'd come sprinting down the concourse and you'd see the plane halfway out in the runway about to take off. And what I realized is it didn't make a difference whether you ran for a plane or not. That you're either going to make it or you weren't going to make it, and that running didn't make the difference. And I vowed then and there I'd never run for a plane again, and I never have. And I'm telling you that story because it's a metaphor in that so many entrepreneurs spend all this time running for planes. They are up all night polishing their deck. They're reviewing the work of people to make sure the spelling is correct. They're double checking every detail. They are working so hard. But I know from experience that it's like running for the plane. Most of the time, doesn't make a difference.
There was a poll I read a long time ago. Only like 18% of Americans feel engaged when they're at work.
That's crazy.
Which is like dude, less than 20% of the country likes their fucking job. This is like a crisis.
So crazy.
So of course you're going to have depression high, anxiety high, all these issues that are associated with that. I mean, you're lucky, I'm lucky. We happen to do things that we really like.
Yeah.
But imagine being somebody who doesn't like your job.
Yeah, well, I've been that person in the past.
Me too,
and
yeah.
You have too. Yeah, it's not a fun existence. The difference between the overall happiness of being able to do what you enjoy versus doing something that you have to do, it's immeasurable.
It's night and day.
The impact that it has on your psyche, the way you think about life, the way you think about the weekend, the way you think about Monday morning, it's just a totally different way of existence. And also, it's not like these people that are in that 18% that enjoy their job, like they suffer more. They're more, generally speaking, they're happier, they live better, they have a better possibility for the future, they're enthusiastic about it. Whereas the vast majority of those people that are doing something they don't want to do, they're barely even getting ahead. Like
That's right.
What percentage of people are actually saving money and like putting together a nest egg? And how many people are living check to check?
Over 70%.
Jeez.
Over 70%.
Hello there and welcome. Have you ever asked yourself why we think we have to work hard if we're going to win? It takes hard work, years of hard work. It's not good information. In fact, it's a lie. Stop and think of some of the people you know that have been working real hard for a long time and they're not winning at all. They're broke. They're renting a place to live. They don't own their own home. They're probably driving a used car. Down south, they say that dog won't hunt. The idea of working hard is silly. It's silly.
You know, a lot of us are hard workers. A lot of people like to say that like the young people now don't work hard. That's not true. I know a lot of young people work very hard. All from 18 to 68, you know what I mean? Everybody's working hard. A lot of people working hard. The problem isn't we aren't working hard. The problem is we're working hard at like the wrong things. We're not working hard at things that are going to benefit us. Because A, no one's ever really broke it down for us. You know, where we should be working hard. And B, you know, we have this ideal, this myth in our head, this belief that like, oh, it's just me. If I haven't made it, it's just me. It's like, no, it's not you, it's the system. The system is set up for you to work hard, to just use all your energy, drain you, and send all the profits to the top. That's how the system is set up. So if you're working hard in that system, you are just further enriching the people at the top. You got to find a way to like get out of that system. Or if you're working in the system, but at a job or career you really love and you don't really care, that's cool too. If you're like, I just love doing this, I'm not in it for the money, I don't care. I don't care if my bosses get rich, whatever. Or maybe you're working for like a nonprofit, whatever. If you don't care, cool. But if you care, you got to find a way to get out the system. Or you got to take your earnings from the system and invest those into a business of your own or some type of investment vehicle where your money can work for you, where your money's going to work hard.
Stop working hard in your 9 to 5. It gets you nowhere. Working hard in a job, those days are gone, done and dusted, because you will be used and abused, believe me. Now, I'll just use their first names, but there's two people that come to mind. I used to work with a guy called Steve. He was the yes man. He used to do everything. If there was a problem, we get Steve to do it. If there was a shift that needed covering, you get Steve to do it. You need a man to come in early, Steve would do it. Stay late, got you covered. Used and abused. And what we see, and it's very common, if you are the person that is willing to do everything and anything for no extra pay, because your belief system is the harder you work, the more you'll earn and, you know, the further you'll go in the company. No, dog's body. They see it as someone that they can take advantage of.
I'm 59 years old. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that in the corporate world, hard work does not get rewarded. In fact, oftentimes you're punished for it. What do I mean by that? I've seen time and time again, people who dedicate and devote their lives to their company. They come in early, they stay late, they work on projects on the weekend, they miss their kids' ball games, they miss out on weddings, They take their laptops on vacation with them. Those people are often the ones who are shit on. They are not respected by the boss man. I don't know why it is. I don't know how it happens, but I think it's like they see you as a sucker because you're willing to do things for free, on the cheap. Your blind dedication, your blind devotion, it gets you nowhere. It's the way it is.